Welcome to Kyle. Thank you for joining us today in this amazing community where growth and togetherness help shape an even more vibrant tomorrow.
We're building a local economy driven by cutting-edge industries and a strong entrepreneurial spirit, with the goal of creating jobs and opportunities that attract top talent and foster prosperity for all.
We're committed to a future based on sustainable practices, with infrastructure projects designed to create resilience and stewardship of our precious resources.
We are prioritizing accountability and effective leadership with open communication to meet the needs of every resident, ensuring your voice is always heard.
Here, everyone is welcome, and safety and inclusivity is central for the planning of our future.
There's always something new to experience in Kyle. We want our community to hum to life with fun ideas, innovation, and culture for everyone that lives here or visits.
As we look forward, the future of Kyle is bright.
It's thriving.
It's resilient.
It's inclusive.
It's safe.
It's vibrant.
And it provides opportunities for all. And now, introducing your speaker for the state of the city, your mayor, Travis Mitchell.
We set out to make City Fest about a year ago. We had this idea. I've done 6 State of the Cities. I've been the mayor for a little while, but each and every year that we do a State of the City, it's done as a luncheon. It's a ticketed event, and it's during the work week. And it attracts a lot of folks. I really enjoy giving that presentation, but the folks who come are often engineering firms and various members of the community. We wanted to take City Fest out to the people. And that's really where this idea came from. We're looking for an opportunity to give direct information to as many of the residents as we can, and then also to give those residents the opportunity to interact with us, your city council leadership, but also our fantastic city departments. Let's give a round of applause for all the work they've done out here getting ready. So I do want to have one more raise your hand moment. Raise your hand if this is the first time you've ever heard a mayor give a State of the City address. Nice. That was our goal. I'm very thankful to have you here. I'm glad you're here. We have transitioned to City Fest, and now we're going to go on 5 major topics. There are so many things that we could talk about. Our growing city is robust and complicated. There are 5 particular items that I think are of importance to you. Number 1, the growing economy in the city of Kyle. Number 2, our water supply, the expansion of our parks system. Number 4, downtown. And number 5, mobility projects. So those are the topics that we're going to discuss. All right, let's start with our growing community and our growing economy. Behind me, you can see a population chart. It represents each section is 4 years. Starting at 2016, we had 39,000. 2020, we went to 45,000. And here we are in 2024. That number got boosted way out. The pandemic, as you can see, has changed the face of the city of Kyle. We now have 65,000 residents and growing. The population in the last 4 years since the pandemic has increased by 30%. All right, now we'll go to the next chart, which is always my favorite chart. It talks about the city's sales tax revenue. As you can see, in 2016, we collected $6.4 million in sales tax revenue. And then in 2020, it went up to 9.7, which was good. But then the pandemic hit, and now we are at $17.9 million. That is great news because it means people are spending money in Kyle businesses more than ever. The bottom chart represents the value of Kyle if you were to sell it. The bottom is a B, billions. When in 2016, if you sold the city of Kyle, it would have been worth $2.3 billion according to the tax rolls. And then it went up to 3.6, and then it doubled in the last 4 years. So we have new sales tax revenue. We have a lot of new properties that are paying in property taxes, and we have a lot of new demands on our infrastructure. So the question is, what are we going to do about all that growth, and how are we going to invest new revenues? Well, I'll start by saying that we have 900,000 square feet of retail space under development right now citywide. It's an amazing number. The development and growth of our retail industry has been impressive. And I'll start by giving some highlights. I'm going to start right here at the brick and mortar district. There's a lot of construction back here if y'all haven't noticed. A lot of construction. One of those is a brand new project. You can just barely see it over the trees. Sprouts. Sprouts is on its way, along with 18,000 square feet of new retail that'll be directly next to the Sprouts in a retail center. The groundbreaking for Sprouts is October 30th. I believe that's end of next week, and I'm excited to be there. Also, just to the north, almost completed with their development project is Nitro Swim. Nitro Swim is a local Austin original swim facilities that specialize in meets and select teams and training people to be world-class swimmers, adults and in particular kids. They're going to be opening their doors in the fall. If you go a little further south, we can get to the Dry River District. That's by Costco and Evo, and there's two particular businesses that just opened the doors that I want to give a shout out. One is HTO. Anybody HTO fan out there? And the second, which is probably the most popular request that I get from, is custard and frozen yogurt. Abbott's getting ready to open. I think they actually just opened as well. So if you get a chance, head over there, try out their items. Both of those facilities, by the way, are owner operated. So it's not just a chain that comes in. Those chains have local business people who invest their time and resources to be operators, and it makes for a great opportunity to pursue the American dream right here in Kyle. Moving a little further south, we have Kyle Crossing. That's by Snooze and Kava. There's several new restaurants and businesses opening in that area, but two that are getting ready to come forward, Panera Bread and Crust Pizza. We're very excited to see both of those come forward, and there are a couple more that are on the way that I'm not allowed to tell you about, but I really, really wish that I could. So keep your eye on the Kyle Crossing development. On the east side of I-35, we have Amberwood Park, which is right in front of Amberwood. Crunch Fitness, Texas Roadhouse, Frostbank, and others are under development and getting ready to open in the next year. And much has been said of having Crunch Fitness right next to Texas Roadhouse. It seems like a twisted game where you smell the buttery rolls and then have to walk and go work off those calories. But I think that sounds like a lot of fun, personally. Also, in our downtown area, some of you may have heard the news that the city of Kyle is now set to become the new home to one of the top 50 barbecue joints in the state of Texas. Hays County Barbecue is coming to downtown Kyle. Speaking of Hays County Barbecue, their owners, as well as the owners of Nitro Swim, have a message for you.
What we believe as far as our smoking process and the product that we create is we start off with the best cuts of meat, then go with the best seasonings that we can get our hands on, and then we add our love and passion for making that product all together. So we're gonna have an array from beef to pork to poultry. We enjoy doing it. We use nothing but firewood to do our barbecue. We've been honored and blessed to be on the Texas Monthly 3 consecutive times as one of the top 50 joints in Texas.
I think one of our secret ingredients would definitely have to be heart.
At Nitro Swimming, we like to say others do lessons, we teach swimming. We've got swim school from 6 months through adult. We've got swim team groups. We've got masters for adults as well for team and conditioning and fitness. Indoors, 50 meter by 25 yard pool, 23 lanes. You walk in, it's gonna look like a bowling alley, like this place behind me, full of water. I'm right now currently in Bee Cave, Texas, but our Nitro Kyle location will be even bigger than this location. The lessons pool, 88 degrees, UV filtered water, crystal clear, low ratios on the lessons. Instructor care is impeccable. We love what we do, and we teach swimming and have swim teams.
What we're envisioning for this property is to have our barbecue operating. We're trying to create a community of businesses here on the same real estate. We want to have like a shipping container park with turf, kind of like a rustic feel to it. We have multiple different businesses coming to property to operate under.
It's a little bit of both our kind of dreams, and that's the thing we loved about Kyle is we were able to actually dream out here and really bring forth our vision for the property.
The people are just phenomenal. I just love the city of Kyle, the people in it. They're amazing. They're amazing. We're talking about from the residential folks to the folks conducting business to the city officials. It's been phenomenal. I'm so excited as a family member. My son and I, we're so excited to be a part of that fiber of the city.
A personal message to the city of Kyle. We're coming, folks. We're going to have a really nice swimming little empire here. Cedar Park, Bee Cave, and now Kyle. So come be a part of this. We're so excited. We're putting swimming on the map in Kyle, Texas.
That's pretty amazing. I'm excited about all these new businesses coming to town, and in particular, thanks to Nitro Swim and the Hernandez family and Hays County Barbecue for helping us to put together that promotional material. All right, the next section, the next subject, water. Where are we going to get all the water to have these new businesses and as the new residents come? It's a valid question. And many have rightly noticed that in the last year, we've had to go into several different stages of drought restriction in order to make sure that our water supply was sufficient to supply to our residents. It's been a hard year for many folks, but I want to make sure that you understand one thing. The city of Kyle has water on the way. It was intended to be here a few years ago, but as a pandemic and then explosive growth hit the scene, it caused some delays. But the situation is set to improve. The water project I'm talking to you about is called Alliance Regional Water Authority, or you can call it ARWA, or you can call it Alliance, or you can just call it the Water Project that's on its way. It's massive. It started 17 years ago as a collaboration between the city of Kyle, the city of Buda, and the city of San Marcos to get water from somewhere else other than right beneath us. Because if you know anything about the Hays Trinity Aquifer, the Edwards Aquifer, and the water sources here, they deplete quickly and they charge quickly as well. But in order for them to charge, you have to have rain. So as our city and our communities have grown, and as the rains have been a little less than we had hoped, the aquifers have been depleted, and we had to take steps to make sure that we could have that water. But now, the new water source is coming from the Carrizo-Wilcox Aquifer, which has been said that there is more water in the 10% of the Carrizo that you can have access to than in all the surface lakes in Texas combined. So we're very excited about that new source. But to get that water here, you don't just get to all of a sudden decide. It's a many years-long project that we've been working on since before I was elected to the council in 2016. The goal is to source the water in such a way that we can lay 85 miles of pipe directly into Hays County from the Carrizo and then take that water and be able to store it in new elevated storage tanks. And I am pleased to report that all phases, from the headworks in Gonzales to the 85-mile pipeline to the local elevated storage tanks and take points, are nearing completion. You may have seen some of the construction here going on. Turn on new water is expected in February of next year, and so that's 4 months from now. Very excited to have that new water source come on. Here's the thing about water. We have to understand, you have to see it from a comprehensive standpoint. Number one, you have to increase your supply when your demand is increasing. But you can also do things to taper the demand and make sure that we're all being water-wise and living for the future instead of thinking about the good old days. We are doing several things. Number one is the city council at our last meeting just approved a new pilot rain barrel and xeriscaping program. So if you live in the city of Kyle, you're a Kyle water customer or stormwater customer, you can check into it and go talk to Kathy, who won the day this morning over there in the red shirt. She'll tell you about it. It allows for up to $200 of rebate for anyone who wishes to put a rain barrel on their property, and up to a $250 rebate for anyone who wishes to take their irrigated landscaping away and put in natural native plantings that do not require water. And then third, we have opportunities to change development patterns in the future, and we have already undertaken several steps to make our landscaping policies more robust so that as new developments and businesses come, they have to follow rules that are designed to put water conservation at the forefront of their projects, which includes things like native plantings and, at times and where appropriate, artificial turf. So our water situation is improving. It's going to take a big leap forward next year. We also have new sources of water that are coming online, and we anticipate that we are going to increase our supply pretty much every year over the next 10 years. So I'm excited about that because we need it in order to do everything else and to live as a community. All right, next up, the expansion of our parks department and our parks in particular. In recent years, we have focused on expanding our parks. In the fall of 2021, we opened Mary Kyle Hartson City Square Park. Has anybody been to Mary Kyle Hartson recently? Mary Kyle Hartson hosts our largest event of the year, which is a 25-day festival celebrating Christmas. And that infrastructure that we have put in has, I never see Mary Kyle Hartson Park empty. It's always full of kids and people, and it's thriving. In the fall of 2022, we opened Heroes Memorial Park, which is right over here. Heroes Memorial Park is an award-winning park that has brought lots of solace, peace, and serenity to many members of our community that have been affected by or are serving as a first responder or a veteran. It's wonderful. And then last year, about this time, we opened La Verde. And how about this park? It's pretty great, isn't it? The capacity is 2,500 people, and over time, we anticipate being able to get close to that with our festivities. This year, in 2024, we opened a new community garden in Post Oak on 150 and 2 splash pads at Greg Clark Park in Steeplechase. And all of that is great, and you would think, all right, we've done it, right? We've gotten to where we want to be with our parks department and our park systems. Not even close. 2 years ago, the council was approached about purchasing a piece of land that adjoins our largest stormwater reservoir, also known as a lake, next to Seton and Dacey Lake. Some of you, if you've driven over there behind Seton on Dacey, may know and have seen it by looking off in the distance. The lake is twice the size of Lake Kyle. At its center, the depth is 40 feet. There are robust legacy trees and a lot of natural features and artifacts and reeds and wildlife that are out there. We were approached about this. It was all privately owned. That's why nobody's been out there. It's all fenced off and you can't get on it or see it very much at all. But the city council and the council's leadership got to talking and tried to make the determination whether or not we needed another park like this. What was the answer, Tobias?
Hello, everyone. I am Michael Tobias, your City Council member for District 6, and behind me is Lake Kensington. Lake Kensington is 101 acres of natural preserve that's we're going to be able to bring forth a new park that will keep its natural settings, wildlife, native trees, native grasses for all to enjoy. We've all been to Lake Kyle and enjoyed it. Now here at Lake Kensington, it's double the size with more natural preserve, and we're very excited to be able to possibly bring this to you. Lake Kensington is in the heart between 2 neighborhoods of Kensington Trails and also South Lake Ranch right off Dacey Lane. One of the most wonderful and beautiful things I saw was the sunset that overlooked the city of Kyle, and just seeing its natural beauty of the lake itself and also our city as a whole. Here at Lake Kensington, one of the most amazing things about this park is the lake itself and its natural resource. It's very beautiful, and I'm excited that we can be able to bring this to our residents. And with that, we want to be able to bring something to the community that they can enjoy for years to come.
Just look at how massive that thing is. So the plans for Lake Kensington over the next 12 months, the task force as well as staff and ultimately the city council are going to engage with the public and put together a series of designs. We're hoping to break ground in late next year or maybe the first quarter of 2026. It's going to be a special place. I also want to talk to you about 3 important park projects that have been voter approved by the city residents. The skate park, Plum Creek Nature Trail, and our Sportsplex. And you may not have been here, but in 2020, we took to the voters a proposition to fund these 3 particular projects. Then we got to talking with the county, and they decided to partner with us. And so in 2022, they put forward their own parks bond, and that was approved. And so now the amount of money we have for these 3 projects has doubled. Skate park is going to be at Greg Clark Park. The Plum Creek Nature Trail is going to be from Lake Kyle east along the Plum Creek Reserve to Waterleaf. Those projects, and then the Sportsplex will be here, right here at the Brick and Mortar District, right over here. All 3 projects are going into full design now that the hurdles have been cleared, and all 3 projects we intend to have break ground next year or the first quarter of 26. As we build new parks, this is something that's very important, and I know it's important to some of the council members who I've served with. It's very important that we do not neglect our existing parks. We felt compelled as a council, working with our staff and our city manager, to make a robust investment in the existing parks that we have. That investment amounts to $25 million committed over the next 5 years to fund major improvements to Steeplechase, Waterleaf, Greg Clark Park, and Lake Kyle, as well as others. And so, all of these plans, you may say, how do I get access to them? You can say that a park is getting rehabilitated, but what does that mean? Well, I have good news for you. We're working on our first and most robust parks and open spaces master plan. That has got town halls and open houses for you to come, receive feedback, and give feedback. The first one is on Tuesday at the Krug Activity Center. The next one is the 6th of November at the Public Works headquarters down 150. And if you want more information about any of the parks and parks projects that I've mentioned, our Parks Department's here. Feel free after this to go over and ask them questions. How do you get involved? How can you serve on a board? How can you give back and make an impact? We're all here to answer those questions. And I will say this, our Parks Department historically in the city has done a lot with little. If you ask yourself, where is the Parks Department's headquarters? You're probably not even going to know. And if you do know, you're going to be embarrassed. It's at Lake Kyle in the little entryway with the dog run right there at that little building. I think there's like 3 rooms and a closet. Our Parks Department is how many people? More than enough that can fit into 3 rooms. And so recently, the city of Kyle made an investment to purchase 13,000 square feet in a pair of buildings on Republic Drive down Windy Hill. And there you go, you can see them. This is going to be new offices for our parks staff, as well as a multi-purpose space to host events and run programming. I'm looking forward to seeing this building come. So let's give a big round of applause to our Parks Department and their new headquarters. All right, 4. I only have 5, so we're getting there, aren't we? Number 4 is downtown revitalization. So why does Kyle need to have its downtown revitalized? That's a question that not many people ask, to be honest, because I think most of us understand that our downtown, while full of history and great people and some wonderful businesses, compared to the region, struggles to cultivate and attract the type of destination business and programming and events that we would like to see for a downtown. Downtowns are the core of your city. They're what give you your identity, and our downtown has struggled. Well, why has it struggled? There are several reasons why our downtown struggles. Number 1 is State Highway 150. State Highway 150 runs from West Hays through to East Hays, and it is the primary corridor that people travel when they're trying to get to and from I-35 or across the county to other parts of the region. That is a big challenge because it creates a lot of congestion. The second is the train. We have a train that stops in our downtown because it doesn't go through. It actually pulls off to what's called the siding and stops several times every week and just blocks downtown. And if you think to yourself, I want to have a business, I'm going to start and open it somewhere, are you going to invest in a place that shuts you down every so often and blocks traffic to your doors? It creates a challenge. The third is the city of Kyle lacks destination retail and the critical mass in our downtown that is needed, because you don't go to one business when you're going to a downtown. You go to many businesses. You park and you get out and you go. And we do not have that critical mass as of yet. And then the next, of course, is parking. Downtowns really struggle with parking until they take the initiative. Our downtown is no exception. It is functional for the businesses that we have, but if we were to increase the amount of businesses in our downtown to the level that is needed, we would be woefully underparked. And then finally is pedestrian infrastructure. And while we have some good streetscapes along our center street, the pedestrian infrastructure around downtown for people to walk to and walk away and go back from our downtown are all lacking. And so we have plans for all of these topics that I have just discussed because it's worth it. It's worth it for the city of Kyle to pursue revitalizing its downtown. It's going after your heart. And what else could be more important? The first thing we have to do is decongest 150. And I'm going to talk a little more about that here in just a second. The city is undertaking several projects and has worked with the county for a while to create an eastern and a western loop in Kyle. The next thing that we have to do is unblock the train. We have been approved and have fully funded the train rail siding relocation, which moves the parked train further north and gets it out of the way of our street crossings. The problem is when it does that, it blocks Kohlers completely. And so you can't trade one problem for another. Thankfully, we've been working a lot in recent years and recently have had some great wins towards getting the design funded and the construction funded for what's called grade separation, which takes Kohlers Crossing and separates it from the train. And when that goes through, then the first project goes through simultaneously, and all of a sudden, we don't have to block our downtown trains. I think we're going to see a lot of momentum on unblocking our train in the next year or two. Also, we have a plan for density. If you read any book about a thriving downtown, they all say about the same thing. You need about a 10-block by 10-block footprint for your commercial spaces and around 100 businesses. Those businesses need to have complementary uses. They need to have uniform hours, and they need to have ample parking. And so how do you accomplish that in your downtown when there's no land for sale and there's no real spaces available for development? The answer is the city has to be proactive and take some initiative. And so we have, in the last year or two, acquired several new sites: Papa Jack's, Jack's Axes, the car wash, the pawn shop, and the donut shop. There are some good businesses that operate out of there, and they are allowed to continue until our next phasing moves forward. But what's going to replace that is the opportunity for the city of Kyle to put together a mixed-use project that can have 4 or 5 times the amount of businesses that come in that particular area. And we have the opportunity for the first time to fund a parking garage and allow for a lot more folks to park without having to fill up and clog our streets. The assemblage of these parcels is a vital step to achieving revitalization. We envision working with the private sector to construct a unique mixed-use project on those lots, but we are taking our time. We understand that the community has feedback that they want to give, and in the coming months, we intend to engage the community to find out, what do you want for your downtown? What do you think belongs there? So I hope you'll join me in rooting for our downtown. I root for it daily. All right, last item, mobility. I say that people want Froyo, but what they really want is to be able to drive around town in a reasonable amount of time during rush hour in particular. we have known this for a long time. That's not news. We all drive the streets too. I mean, it sometimes takes me 15 minutes to get from my home to I-35 during rush hour. I know it at a BB Road. Folks on the east side deal with it coming down 150 all the time, which is why the city has been so proactive in the last several years to cultivate game-changing projects. Not just something flashy that people get excited about because we can sell it in a moment, but something that changes the city of Kyle for a generation. And so in 2022, the city council and the voters in the city of Kyle voted to approve an historic $294 million roads bond. That's 8 complete street roads divided into 13 segments. On the west, we have Marketplace, which is just broken ground, Old Stagecoach, which I've been rooting for a long time, and the redevelopment of Center Street from Stagecoach to Veterans. On the east, we have Bunton, Beebe, Windy Hill, the Kohlers Crossing extension to Seton, so Kohlers underneath I-35 and around to Seton, and the Kyle Parkway extension to Lehman. So when you're going in between the Walmart and the hospital, that road tees into Dacey. It won't here in a few years. It will continue moving forward all the way around to Lehman High. These projects are important to the city. We have, like I said, we broke ground on Marketplace this year because it's simpler. A simpler project. Next year, we're going to break ground on 4 segments of the roads bond. That's the western portion of Windy Hill, the portion of Kohlers on the other side of I-35, the first section on the west of Beebe, and a section of Stagecoach from Six Creeks to Veterans. The year after that, 2026, we're breaking ground on 7 more segments, and they're mainly completing the sections that we've already started. The completion of Beebe, the completion of Windy Hill, the completion of Bunton, and Old Stagecoach Road. These projects are really important, but they're not the only thing. We have additional projects outside of the $294 million roads bond. Kohlers, in particular, has funded intersection improvements at nearly every intersection all the way east to Seton. Improvements in Benner, Sanders, Cromwell, Kyle Crossing, and Marketplace. We have a project right now to have decel and turn lanes on 158 and I-35 on the east side. We have a first leg of an important project, which is the Goforth project, is underway. We have funded the second portion, and we're working on the third portion of Goforth. And when you hear about what Goforth is, if you drive on 150, I want to make sure you're aware of the value of this project. We're talking from Yarrington and I-35. Yarrington is the 110 loop, a new road that cuts straight north across 158 and ties into 150. What that means is if you live east on 150 and you want to go south on I-35, you do not have to go all the way into the downtown, loop back up where all the traffic is around Lehman Road and the Sonic and all that area. You do not have to do that anymore. You'll be able to turn and go straight south, a direct shot, and either go on the 110 loop or get on South I-35, and vice versa. If you're coming home, and it's rush hour, and you won't have to take the 213 exit to go east on 150 and add traffic there. You'll be able to take the 210 exit and then go straight north all the way up to Post Oak. The Goforth Road stands, if we can get it completed in a timely fashion, to provide traffic relief and bring thousands of cars off of 150 in the critical bottleneck space and allow for them to go north and south on Goforth, which is a 4-lane regional arterial road. And then finally, we have the retail roads, which is a phrase we use internally. This is it right here. What do y'all think about all this? Retail Road Projects connects Burnham Street and La Verde Park to FM 1626, Heroes Memorial Park, and Cromwell Street at the roundabout behind the PAC. The project includes robust pedestrian-oriented streetscapes with signature trees, festival lights, pedestrian amenities, gardens, plazas, and a signature Kyle Cultural Trail, which is a 10-foot brick pedestrian and bicycle urban trail connecting La Verde Park to Heroes Memorial Park. So right now, if you want to walk to Heroes Memorial Park, it's a little bit of a treacherous journey. Next year's City Fest, next year when we are here, there's going to be a beautiful sidewalk right down and straight to Heroes Memorial Park. So if you want to go from the Sprouts to La Verde, or from La Verde to the Sprouts, or from the Sprouts to HMP, you can do it on a beautiful, well-lit path. So that's the retail roads. All right. There are two things about mobility that I think are important for everyone to understand. Number one is mobility is not just about building more roads so that you can have more cars dealing with traffic. Mobility is about people, and people use more than cars to get around, which is why over the last 4 years, we have been slowly cultivating what I am really, a project I love, which is called the Vibe. Vibe with a Y, because we're Kyle. I think it's pretty cute. It's a 12-foot wide multimodal path, 85 miles planned to connect retail establishments to residential neighborhoods to parks to residential neighborhoods to retail establishments. Think if you want to get anywhere in Kyle, you have more than one option. You don't have to get into a vehicle. You can get into a golf cart because the multimodal path is wide enough to incorporate low-speed vehicles. You can have a bicycle ride anywhere you want to go, as well as all kinds of different types of paths. We have 9.4 miles of the Vibe already completed and 1.3 miles under construction now. The first section, and the reason you don't know about this just yet is because you have to connect meaningful spots for the Vibe to take life. The first section is on its way, and it goes from the Public Safety Center, which is right over here on Kohlers, all the way down Marketplace to the new section of Marketplace we're building, and then around and underneath 1626 to Cava, and then back to Marketplace, working its way downtown, which means that at some point in time here in the next year or two, you're going to be able to walk across 1626 to get to HEB or vice versa to get to Snooze without having to cross the 8 lanes of traffic that is 1626 and Marketplace. And I think when that opens, it's going to be the first time we realize that what we can accomplish as a city. And then finally, mobility is also about people who may not have the means to travel but need to get places. The City of Kyle in 2020 launched Uber Kyle 314. Raise your hand if you've heard about our Uber Kyle program. Give a shout if you've used it before. All right. So the Uber Kyle program, in a nutshell, allows you go to the City of Kyle's app, you put in 2 pieces of information, and it moves it right over into the Uber app and gives you a voucher. Every month, you get 10 vouchers, and your rides anywhere to and from in the City of Kyle are $3.14. The city picks up the difference. The city's total cost that we pay per ride is about $10. That's per vehicle. We average historically about 1.4 rides per trip, which means our per cost actual average per passenger is about $6.90. Any other mobility program in the region, in the suburbs, trying to provide mobility solutions to the residents cost a factor of 10 to 20 times more from the city to perform, and they do not achieve numbers like what we have achieved. This year, the City of Kyle, through its Uber program, has produced 46,800 total rides. That's 2,400 unique riders. And the folks that are taking advantage of the program, you can call a wave if you need. Use the program. If you have a wheelchair, if you're blind or disabled in any other way, if you need to get somewhere in the city, $3.14. Or if you're going to the airport, which is one of the few places outside the city you can go, you pay 31.4%. So if it's a $50 Uber ride to the airport, you can get it for $15 or $17 or whatever that would be. Our Uber program is growing. It's taking note. People are noticing it throughout the region. I really do commend it as a model for transportation, in particular in a suburban environment like this, where trying to put a bus system together is very, very expensive and very impractical. All right. So that's the mobility plans for the City of Kyle. We've talked about roads. We've talked about sidewalks. We've talked about Uber, everything that we're doing internally. But many of you understand that in the City of Kyle, traffic just outside impacts us greatly. And just so happens that this year, starting on Monday when early voting is, you're going to have the option to decide whether or not to support a proposal that the county has put forward for their road bond that is meaningful to the city of Kyle. And I'd like to invite up my good friend, Commissioner for Hays County, Precinct 2, Dr. Michelle Cohen, to have a conversation real quick.
Hello, Mayor.
How are you,
Hello,
Michelle?
Everyone. Good, good, good.
This is a little different, huh? It's kind of fun. Well, tell us a little bit about the bond proposition that's coming before the voters, and what do they need to know?
So, absolutely. So, in August, the Commissioners Court voted unanimously to put forth a road bond for November ballot. Now, just to put this in perspective, Hays County has not had a road bond in 8 years. So what has happened in 8 years? The immense growth, the new business, more schools, a lot has changed in our area. So we have 31 projects on the road bond that consist of full construction, design, right-of-way acquisition, utility movement, just whatever you can think of. More studies are all on the bond. But what I'm excited for is that for the first time, I think, ever, the east side of the county is finally getting some attention in our road work. We've been historically disregarded and underserved in these areas, so this bond is really targeting that area of the county, which is in desperate need of it. So, for example, Windy Hill. So we know that the city of Kyle is doing I-35 to Purple Martin Avenue. Where the county picks up is Purple Martin Avenue to 2001. And if you've ever driven on Windy Hill in the morning or even in the afternoon, you know how bad it is, right? So on the ballot, on the proposition, Windy Hill is full construction for a 2-lane, middle lane road from Purple Martin to 2001 with shoulders, with the ultimate design of being able to go 4 lanes on each side. And that's a really big deal for us. Also, we are putting a roundabout on Windy Hill and Shadow Creek in that area. So that is a huge, huge block for a lot of people that are traveling that area. Hillside Terrace is another one that is ready for construction if the bond passes, and that will be a 2-lane to 4-lane road with a middle intersection, and also fixing a little bit of the go-forth that's on there as well. Also on FM 150, we've put in there a study to possibly expand that from the 2 lanes, middle lane that it is right now, to a 4-lane, possibly with a middle turn lane. So there's a lot going on, and I'm only targeting the areas that are around Kyle, that are in my precinct. So my precinct is from Buda to Kyle, basically hugs the corridor all the way down, and it crosses over into downtown Kyle. All right, and another piece of that is also the Go Forth 158 to 150, adding 2 roundabouts between those 2 areas. And that is a really exciting partnership between the county, the city, and private partnerships. And, you know, from what I understand, the city has never had the kind of partnership with the county like they do now. And we are just so excited as a county to be able to partner with the city to be able to do that, because I believe that none of us can do this by ourselves. We need to work together. We need to work with the cities. We need to work with the school districts. We need to work with TxDOT. All of us together working together to make our roads more safer. And that's one of the initiatives, is being safer, the mobility, and the regionalization. Those are the 3 initiatives that are driving this bond.
Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate it very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Y'all doing okay? All right. I think we've made the point in the case that Texas roads are dangerous. Texas roads need our love and attention, and no one knows this better than TxDOT. They have a campaign that they call End the Streak. What is the streak? Since November 7th, 2000, at least 1 person has died in a vehicle-related accident on a Texas road every day. For context, November 7th, 2000 was 24 years ago. I had had my driver's license for 2 weeks. the last time no one died on a Texas road? Kyle, of course, is no stranger to traffic accidents. Since the pandemic, Kyle's serious injury collisions have increased dramatically, and unfortunately, fatalities are no stranger to our town either. I see wrecks and or near wrecks happening in our community more often than I care to admit. I'm sure many of you, if you've driven around our town, have also seen some of those intersection near misses. TxDOT wants to end the streak of daily traffic fatalities, and they are making changes and getting serious about accomplishing this goal. Number one, they're increasing the size of pavement striping from 4 to 6 inches. They're widening the centerline buffer between double yellow stripes with rumble strips and raised pavement markers on undivided highways to alert drivers when they cross the center line. And they are promoting innovative intersection designs like roundabouts where appropriate, because they say, and the statistics show, that roundabouts reduce traffic fatalities by 90%. In Kyle, we want to do our part to end the streak. Each of our road projects, just like the road projects Dr. Cohen was talking about from the county, starts with the question, how do we make this area as safe as possible for vehicles and pedestrians? Here's what we know. Roundabouts reduce overall collisions by 35%. Roundabouts reduce fatality collisions by 90%. And roundabouts reduce traffic delays by as much as 89%. This is the data and the science that is out there. These numbers come directly from TxDOT and the Institution of the Federal Highway Administration. So I'm going to tell you now what many already know, but in all of these projects, all of the intersection designs that we are pursuing, when appropriate, we are planning to put in robust roundabouts with pedestrian infrastructure as a top priority. 23 roundabouts fully funded in the City of Kyle's budget right now. All of them under design and throughout the city. The intersections I told you about on Kohlers, we hope to make this a model corridor so that you can drive from Hayes High School underneath I-35 all the way to Ascension Seton Hayes without ever having to stop and without ever having to fear for your life. And so I hope you will join me in continuing to promote and root on the City Council and leadership to make ending the streak of traffic-related fatalities and serious injury collisions in Kyle a possibility. And so, thank you. In conclusion, I want to say that I love this town. And I see you all out here. I see you squinting so that you can hear what we're saying. I know that you love this town too. I'm glad you're here. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to address the community in this way. My earnest hope and prayer is that after you leave today, you will feel the same excitement for Kyle's future as myself and the council and the other leaders. We want Kyle to grow into a vibrant city, a safe city, and an inclusive city. We want our residents to have everything they need to live happy lives right here at home. We believe in growing our parks department and our parks systems. We believe in growing our business community. We believe in the future of our downtown, and we believe in working towards a robust, multifaceted, and safe plan for mobility all throughout our city. With your support, we will get there. Thank you very much. All right, now we have something special. I'd like to invite the family and friends of Coral Ginwright to come forward, as well as the first responders who are a part of her story. I'd also like to invite the City Council and leadership to come forward as well.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we get hit.
She will not be alive when I get there. Yeah. She's not going to make it.
But we got a phone call that there had been an accident. And life just changed.
I don't know what time I left, but I was on my way to work. And as I was driving, somebody came across and I wrecked my car. It happened on the side, so I was underneath the car with my fingers sticking out.
During the accident, luckily, one of the things that I think helped save her life was that her skull actually broke apart during the accident so that it allowed her brain to expand. She lost the majority, if not almost all, of her frontal lobe. I think that the things that the doctor said that would not ever happen again as a result of that, she has proved them all wrong.
And then she's like, she would look and be like, yeah, you know, you just can't laugh. Like, it's just not the same. First thing out of my mouth was laughter. I was like, this is perfect, Dad's ready. It was perfect.
None of the first responders expected her to make it. And that's why just the whole experience for them was quite moving, for sure. And to see that she actually made it, they just were mind blown. Like they never knew.
That was the first time they've ever experienced an accident of that magnitude. So it touched everybody, gave everybody pretty much PTSD from that one accident, to where other people were ready to just call it quits. And I was like, wow, it was that impactful. After going back and visiting the firehouse with the responding team, the captain came to me 3 times and just thanked us for bringing Coral back to see, you know, that there is hope after something like that.
I believe that between her and God, that she just decided she was supposed to be here, and she had something bigger.
Never really realized the magnitude of the inspiration that she's given everybody in the hospital and even other patients in the hospital.
I just get up and do what I need to do.
I don't know how she does it. She always has a smile on her face. And I will say she has, I can say very confidently that not one time in the last 17 months have I heard her complain. Not once. About her circumstance. She's not complained about the cards that she was dealt. She's like, okay, this is what we just do. We just get up and we just keep going through and we do whatever's necessary. And there's I can't even really say that she's ever considered that there's a brighter day ahead, because every day she just shows up and makes it as beautiful as she can.
That's what made such an impact for everybody else and an inspiration, because she's been dealt a pretty bad hand, but she's make the best of it. And just so we know, each day we just got to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
I think the impact for other people, they see that, and it's what motivates them. So if, like, you know what, if Coral can do this, I can do this.
When you can go through something and you can be at the point that you were at, where a surgeon says she will not be alive when I get there, and you see and understand the journey that she has been on over the last 17 months, and when you can stop and just ask yourself how in the world she gets up every day with a smile on her face, ready to take on the day. And not only has she not complained, but she doesn't think of life. I haven't ever seen her act, speak, or think in a way that is someday in the future, when I'm healed, when I'm this, when I'm this. She's not waiting to live someday. She's actively getting up every day and figuring out how to live today, and with all of the joy and laughing and music and dancing and whatever. I mean, I have a whole lot of words, but I have no words for that.
Still the same damn stubborn mule that we love.
You're welcome.
I
love donkeys, so.
She's the same damn stubborn mule we've always loved. She's just taken a little bit of a recess on the adult responsibility side of life, and she's allowed herself to just live a little more freely, which I feel we all wish we could sometimes.
I've known Coral Ginwright for almost 10 years, a little less than that. Coral and I worked together for a couple years. We got to know each other very well. She was into fitness. She was having a great time in her life. being rambunctious, being full of spirit and heart and courage. I loved Coral, and I was so sad when our working time ended and we separated ways. Coral, 18 months ago, was in a very tragic and deadly accident in western Hays County. It was quite a thing to behold. And so, Coral, your story over the last 18 months has meant more to me than you know, and it has meant more to others than you know. Your comeback from that accident is the most miraculous thing I've ever seen, and I'm thankful to stand here today and on behalf of myself and the City Council to present you with the key to the city. It reads, "This key to the city is presented with never-ending gratitude to Coral Jenright for her story of inspiration through hardship and for giving Kyle citizens faith and hope in the impossible." Here you go.